Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtapraheshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtike. Continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, Chapter 4, Sri Madhvendra Puri's Devotional Service. Text 125 onwards. Gramir Shunya Hate Vashikarin Kirtana Etha Pujari Karaila Thakure Shayan. Madhvendra Puri left the temple and sat down in the village marketplace, which was vacant. Sitting there, he began to chant. In the meantime, the temple priest laid the deity down to rest. Although Madhvendra Puri was not interested in eating and sleeping, his interest in chanting the Mahamantra was as acute as if he were an aspiring transcendentalist rather than a Paramhansa. This means that even in the Paramhansa stage, one cannot give up chanting. So yeah, it's not like we give up chanting once we reach that stage. In fact, the chanting becomes more sweet when one is in that stage. Haridas Thakur and the Goswamis were all engaged in chanting a fixed number of rounds. Therefore, chanting on beads is very important for everyone, even though one may become a Paramhansa. This chanting can be executed anywhere, either inside or outside the temple. Madhvendra Puri even sat down in a vacant marketplace to perform his chanting. As stated by Srinivas Acharya in his prayers to the Goswamis, Nama Garna Natibi. A Paramhansa devotee is always engaged in chanting and rendering loving service to the Lord. Chanting the Lord's holy names and engaging in his service are identical. Chanting the Lord's holy names and engaging in his service are identical. But yes, sometimes service is time-bound, so we have to take care of that service. So we have to see at what time, what we have to do. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 9 kinds of devotional service: hearing, Shravanam, chanting, Kirtanam, remembering Vishnu Smaranam, serving, Padsevanam, worship of the deity, Archanam, praying, Vandanam, carrying out orders, Dasyam, serving him as a friend, Sakyam, and sacrificing everything for the Lord, Atma Nivedanam. Although each process appears distinct, when one is situated on the absolute platform, he can see that they are all identical. For instance, hearing is as good as chanting, and remembering is as good as chanting or hearing. Similarly, engaging in deity worship is as good as chanting, hearing, or remembering. The devotee is expected to accept all 9 processes of devotion service. But even if only one process is properly executed, he can still attain the highest position, Paramhansa, and go back home, back to Godhead. So even at that stage, Madhvendra Puri was so attached to his chanting on his beads. Nij kritya kari pujari kari lashayan swapane thakur ashi balila vachan. Finishing his daily duties, the priest went to take rest. In a dream, he saw the Gopinath deity come to talk to him, and he spoke as follows. Uttha pujari kar dwara vimochan, kshira ek rakhe yaji sannyasikaran. O priest, please get up and open the door of the temple. I have kept one part of sweet rice for the sannyasi, Madhvendra Puri. Dhadara anchale dhaka ek khir haya, tomara na janila taha amara maya. This pot of sweet rice is just behind my cloth curtain. You did not see it because of my tricks. See, Krishna, he can do anything and everything. Madhapuri sannyasi ache hate tevashi taha keta ek hira shigra dehalaya. A sannyasi named Madhavendra Puri is sitting in the vacant marketplace. Please take this pot of sweet rice from behind me and deliver it to him. स्वप्न देखी पुजारी उठी करी विचार स्नान करी कपाट खोली मुक्त कैल द्वार. Awaking from the dream, the priest immediately rose from bed and thought it wise to take a bath before entering the deity's room. He then opened the temple door. Dhadar, dhadara anchal tale paile sei khira sthana lepi kshira laya aila bahira. According to the deity's directions, the priest found the pot of sweet rice behind the cloth curtain. He removed the pot, mopped up the place where it had been kept. He then went out of the temple. Dwaradiya grame gela sei kshira laya hate hate bule madhav puri ke chahiya. Closing the door of the temple, he went to the village with the pot of sweet rice. He called out in every stall in search of Madhavendra Puri. Kshiralaya lahayar nama Madhapuri, Toma lagi gopinatha kshir, kshira kaila churi. Holding the pot of sweet rice, the priest called, will he whose name is Madhavendra Puri please come and take this pot? Gopinath has stolen this pot of sweet rice for you. The difference between the absolute truth and relative truth is explained here. Lord Gopinath has openly declared herein that he is a thief. He had stolen the pot of sweet rice, and this was not kept a secret because his act of stealing is a source of great transcendental bliss. So he is called Khirchora, and in Mathura he is called Makhanchor. But still, even if he steals, it's an act of great transcendental bliss. In fact, Vallabhacharya has written a whole bhajan, Madhurashtakam. That is, everything is sweet. His stealing is sweet, and his giving is sweet, taking is everything, killing is sweet. Everything is sweet about Krishna. In the material world, theft is criminal, but in the spiritual world, the Lord's stealing is a source of transcendental bliss. Mundane rascals who cannot understand the absolute nature of the personality of Godhead sometimes call Lord Sri Krishna immoral, but they do not know that his seemingly immoral activities, which are not kept secret, afford pleasure to the devotees. This is the beauty of Krishna and his pastimes. Not understanding the transcendental behavior of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these rascals slur his character and immediately fall into the category of miscreants. Means those who don't surrender, they are miscreants, lowest of the mankind actually. Rascals, lowest among men, demons, and those whose knowledge is taken away by the illusory energy. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Namam dushkritino moda prapadyante naradam mayaya paritagyan asuram bhavam ashrit. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto. And also Krishna performs these super sweet, but different pastimes to bewilder the atheist. It gives pleasure to the devotees, but the atheists, they get bewildered. What is this? He cannot be God. How can God steal? Stealing is bad. Well, stealing is bad for us, not for Krishna. And moreover, when This also bewilders atheists about the deities. Those who think deities are just like stone, they cannot move anything. Here, Krishna himself stole the pot of sweet rice, kept behind the cloth curtain, and the pujari, I think they offer 12 pots every day. And pujari didn't see the 12th pot. He picked up 11 and he thought he picked up 12. If it was like 50 pots, yeah, it's difficult, we can understand. He didn't count. But 12 pots is easy to count. But what's so difficult for Krishna? If he wants to put somebody in illusion, he can do that. Mundane rascals cannot understand that whatever Krishna does, being absolute in nature, is all good. This quality of the Lord is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. One may consider certain acts of a supremely powerful person to be immoral by mundane calculations, but that is not actually the case. For example, the sun absorbs water from the surface of the earth, but it does not absorb water only from the sea. It also absorbs water from filthy sewers and ditches containing urine and other impure substances. The sun is not polluted by absorbing such water. Rather, the sun makes the filthy place pure. So, if a devotee approaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead for an immoral or improper purpose, he nonetheless becomes purified. The Lord does not become infected. So, even if a devotee approaches him with an impure purpose, he will get purified also. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if one approaches the Supreme Lord, even out of lust, anger, or fear, kamam, krodham, bhayam, he is purified. The gopis, being young girls, approached Krishna because he was a beautiful young boy. From the external point of view, they approached the Lord out of lust, and the Lord danced with them at midnight. From the mundane point of view, these activities may appear immoral, because a married or unmarried young girl cannot leave home to mix with a young boy and dance with him, and that in the middle of the night. Although this is immoral from the mundane viewpoint, the activities of the gopis are accepted as the highest form of worship, because it was Lord Krishna whom they approached with lusty desires in the dead of night. And it is considered highest form of worship by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who's a sannyasi. And not just sannyasi, we'll read about him in his pastimes in Jagannath Puri, how strict a sannyasi was. And he says, gopis moods is the highest. But these things cannot be understood by non-devotees. One must understand Krishna in tattva, or truth. One should use his common sense and consider that if simply by chanting Krishna's holy name one is purified, then can the person Krishna be immoral? And Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, by Krishna Sankirtanam. Then if his holy name is so powerful, so pure that we get purified, how can he be immoral? Unfortunately, mundane fools are accepted as educational leaders and are offered exalted posts for teaching irreligious principles to the general populace. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Andha yathander upaniyamana. Blind men are trying to lead other blind men. Due to the immature understanding of such rascals, common men should not discuss Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. Due to the immature understanding of such rascals, common men should not discuss Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. And this is the problem. They only want to discuss Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. Or in TV serials also. They want to show Krishna's pastimes as Radharani and gopis, and they don't even show it properly. They just show teenage boys and girls are having fun together. No, they don't understand Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva, and they don't present it properly either. It is warned that one should not even think about these things. Although Krishna is the purest of the pure, mundane people thinking of Krishna's pastimes that appear immoral themselves become polluted. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore never publicly discussed Krishna's dealings with the gopis. He used to discuss these dealings only with three confidential friends. He never discussed Ras Leela publicly, as a professional reciters do, although they do not understand Krishna or the nature of the audience. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu encouraged the public chanting of the holy name on a huge scale for as many hours as possible. So, tattva-wise, chanting of the holy names and discussing Ras Leela is not different. That's tattva-wise. So, practically, we have to see if we can, or if we are qualified to discuss Ras Leela. But chanting, anybody can chant. Kshiralaya sukhe tumi kara bhaka shahane, toma sama bhagyavan nahi tribhuvane. The priest continued, would the sannyasi whose name is Madhavendra Puri please come and take this pot of sweet rice and enjoy the prasadam with great happiness? You're the most fortunate person within these three worlds. Here is an example of a personal benediction by Krishna's immoral activity. By Gopinath stealing for his devotee, the devotee becomes the most fortunate person within the three worlds. Most fortunate. Krishna, the proprietor of the whole, all the three worlds. He has stolen something for his devotee. So how great that devotee must be. Thus, even the Lord's criminal activities make his devotee the most fortunate person. How can a mundane rascal understand the pastimes of Krishna and judge whether he is moral or immoral? Since Krishna is the absolute truth, there are no mundane distinctions such as moral and immoral. Whatever he does is good. So absolute truth means everything is in him. Moral, immoral, all sorts of apparent contradictions. Everything is in him. And they all are good. Because he's on the transcendental platform. All we have to do is just surrender, just serve him with love and devotion. And try to understand his pastimes in tattva, in truth. Then there will not be any confusion. This is the real meaning of God is good. He is good in all circumstances because he is transcendental, outside the jurisdiction of this material world. Therefore, Krishna can be understood only by those who are already living in the spiritual world. This is corroborated in Bhagavad Gita. Mam cha yo avyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samtiti yaita brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So, at once transcends the modes of material nature, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, and comes to the level of Brahman. Sargunan Samatitiyata. So, one who is engaged in full devotional service. Avyabhicharena Bhakti Yoga means not following. Then he transcends all the three modes. One who is engaged in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord is already situated in the spiritual world. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. In all circumstances, his activities and dealings with Krishna are transcendental and thus not understandable by mundane moralists. It is therefore better not to discuss such activities or such pastimes among mundane people. It is better to give them the Hare Krishna Mahamantra so that they will be gradually purified and then come to understand the transcendental activities of Krishna. So otherwise, in immature state, they'll make mistake, they'll misunderstand, and they can commit offense. Then they'll not make progress. Etashuni puri gosai parichaya dila khira diya pujari tare dandavat haila. Hearing this invitation, Madhavendra Puri came out and identified himself. The priest then delivered the pot of sweet rice and offered his obeisances, falling flat before him. So, another thing to note is only Madhavendra Puri came out and identified that yes, I am Madhavendra Puri. Nobody else thought of stealing. and the priest delivered him the pot and offered obeisances, understanding how dear he is to Gopinathji. A Brahman is not supposed to offer his obeisances by falling flat before anyone, because a Brahman is considered to be in the highest caste. However, when a Brahman sees a devotee, he offers his dandavats. This Brahman priest did not ask Madhavendra Puri whether he was a Brahman, but when he saw that Madhavendra Puri was such a bona fide devotee that Krishna would even steal for him, he immediately understood the position of the saint. As stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Shudra Kene Nai, Yei Krishna Tattveta Sai Guru Hai. Had the Brahman priest been an ordinary Brahman, like a Smartha Brahman, Gopinath would not have talked with him in a dream. Since the deity spoke to both Madhavendra Puri and the Brahman priest in dreams, practically speaking, they were on the same platform. However, because Madhavendra Puri was a senior sannyasi Vaishnava, a Paramhansa, the priest immediately fell flat before him and offered obeisances. But also, all the proper rights, Madhavendra Puri was a senior sannyasi Vaishnava, Paramhansa. But even if the priest had felt that, oh, Madhavendra Puri is not senior, is junior, he still would have offered, because this is the beauty of Vaishnavism, devotion service. Nobody cares for senior, junior. If one wants to, just one sees the devotion service of somebody, he wants to respect that, he wants to honor that. And he can offer obeisances. Shirera Vrittantatare Kahila Pujari Shuni Prema Vishta Haila Shri Madhava Puri. When the story about the part of sweet rice was explained to him in detail, Shri Madhavendra Puri at once became absorbed in ecstatic love of Krishna. Prema dekhi sevak kahe haiya vismita Krishna ye ihara vasha haya yathochita. Upon seeing the ecstatic, loving symptoms manifest in Madhavendra Puri, the priest was struck with wonder. He could understand why Krishna had become so much obliged to him, and he saw that Krishna's actions were befitting. A devotee can bring Krishna perfectly under his control. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Ajita jito api asi das trilokyam. Krishna is never conquered by anyone, but a devotee can conquer him through devotion service. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma. One cannot understand Krishna simply by reading Vedic literature. Although all the Vedic literature is meant for understanding Krishna, one cannot understand Krishna without being a lover of Krishna. Therefore, along with the reading of Vedic literature, one must engage in devotion service of the deity. Together, these will enhance the devotee's transcendental understanding of devotional service. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karayodai. Love of Godhead is dormant within everyone's heart, and if one simply follows the standard process of devotion service, it is awakened. But foolish, mundane people who simply read about Krishna mistakenly think that he is immoral or criminal. So they cannot understand. But seeing the ecstatic symptoms in the body of Madhya Puri, even the priest was surprised. And Prabhupada said, devotee can bring Krishna perfectly under his control. In fact, Nectar of Devotion states, Krishna has 64 qualities. Radharani has only 25. They're listed 25. I cannot say only because she is a supreme person. But the 25th quality of Radharani is she controls Krishna completely. Complete control. Even Yashoda Maya doesn't have complete control. Radharani, only person who controls him completely. And that control is by her devotional service or by her love for Krishna. So, tomorrow being Radhashmi, so please serve her, please pray to her. She also gives us devotional service. Just one very insignificant part that she can allot us so that we can also make progress. We can also develop love for Krishna. Where she can give that love. Easily she can give. And if she recommends to Krishna that this devotee is very nice, Krishna has to accept that devotee. Because she completely controls him. Also, in the beginning days of ISKCON, devotees asked Prabhupada, okay, for Krishna, we have to fast all the way to midnight. And Radharani only up to noon? Prabhupada, well, because she is very merciful. She is more merciful. So she doesn't want us to suffer a lot. Just, fast until noon, that's fine. That's good enough. So anyway, let's fast until noon on Radhashtami and pray to her, and if she is pleased, she can give plenty of devotion service. Okay, so I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Do we have to do something special before noon tomorrow?
Just chant.
Okay.
Oh, prepare something nice. I think I posted that in the group. What she likes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Manta. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare
Hare Krishna.